saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
All right, keep going.
Speaking to all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
Right, then what?
And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb.
All right, so here he's saying, so basically it's enough salvation for everybody, right?
The lamb is, yep.
See, so, and here he said, every man according to his eating. So they had to take this lamb, the 10th day, and this lines up, this feast, the first feast that the Israelites had to keep, this one lines up perfectly to the Messiah. Because on the 10th day, and this lines up even when by the time when the Lord be crucified, you'll find on the 10th day in the month Nisan, which is the first month for the Israeli calendar, Hebrew calendar, right? So on the 10th day, right around that time, is when he made his triumphant entrance into Jerusalem on the donkey, when they was strawing out branches of palm trees. Is where they accepted Messiah. So on the 10th day is when he done that. This stuff lines up.
Come on.
All right, so then what he say in verse 5?
Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep and from the goats.
All right, here, the male of the first year is talking about the law came under the law. First year representing the law. First year, the first covenant. See, and without blemish, the Lord was born by the Spirit of God.
That's right.
So that made him without blemish, right?
That's right.
So he said, now here is where the Passover was going to go down, where the lamb had to be killed, right? So then that's when they tell him, here, you can take it from the sheep and from the goats. And that's two different characters of animals.
Come on, definitely.
The sheep stray off, but goats got their own mind. They're rebellious to do what they want to do.
That's it.
When they want to do it. Ain't that what he say?
That's it.
When they say, I'm going to do me. That's how the goats talk. See? But you can't do, we know you can't do you when it comes down to this here. So we don't line up with the Lord, guess what? We're going to find ourselves out of the loop.
Yep.
See? But goats got their own mind. See? All right? But the Lord loved them too.
That's it.
Yeah? All right, so then what he say?
And ye shall keep it up until 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
All right, here we go. So they kept the lamb for 4 days, right? Stayed for 4 days. Then it says the whole congregation will kill it in the evening because the Lord is the end time sacrifice. And the same thing that went down in 1 Kings, and people that are familiar with the false prophets, when Elijah told him what to do. He said, and here's what the problem is with people now. He said, let's see if we can get that. We're going to come back and get 1 Kings. This is what the problem with people are having. All right, find this. 1 Kings 17. Here's what the problem a lot of people are having. So the Israelites didn't know which God was the one. Like a lot of people don't know what's going on today. Well, it says Jehovah's Witnesses, or it's Islamic. You know, people are at a halt. And that's what Elijah told them right here. See if we can find that exact scripture. This thing went down, he says, yeah, here we go. All right, so Ahab and Jezebel, they caused the service of God to be persecuted and destroyed and stuff. Right, so you had these false prophets at Jezebel's table. It's the same thing going on now. Right, so Ahab, supposed to be the king of Israel, but for some reason, something else is going on because Jezebel was running the show.
Wow.
See, so here it says Elijah told him, this is what you do right here. So Elijah told him to come to Mount Carmel. All right, then what he say in 1 Kings, I believe it's 18, verse 21. Look at this.
18:21. And Elijah came up to all people and said, How long have ye between two opinions, see, if the Lord be God, follow him, and if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
Right? So he said, here's what the problem with people nowadays. They don't know which one is the right thing. What's the truth? He said, how long are you at a halt or are you at a standstill between two opinions? I don't know who's right. You know, people going to this church and that church, this denomination, this person, this group saying that we got 8 million. The other one saying we got over so many million, right? But they're at a standstill, don't know which God is right.
My God.
So he said, well, this is what you do. What did he say? 22.
Then said Elijah unto the people, even I only, remain a prophet of the Lord. And Baal's prophets are 450 men.
See, and it's the same thing now. The servants of God is always going to be outnumbered by the false prophets.
Goodness.
And it's just like Paul said in his day, he told Timothy, said people think that gain is godliness. And that's all that people want to hear today. That's all they want to hear. Just tell me, look, I see you with a business, or I see you with this and that. That's all people want to hear nowadays. Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. See, same thing, outnumbered. The false prophets, everybody breaking the door down to get up in there.
Wow.
All right, so notice what he said, here's the deal. All right, told him to get 2 bullocks in 23. So here's what you do. What did he say?
Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I would dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put the fire under.
All right, there what he said.
And call ye on the name of your gods, little g, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And the God that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken.
See, sometimes people got to see something.
That's it.
See, and so what he's saying, just like when John the Baptist told, when he came on the scene, and he got on the Pharisees and things, said, why you come to the baptism and everything? He said, but then he told them, in Matthew 3, when he said, there comes one after me that's mighty than I, whose shoes lashes I'm not worthy to stoop down and unloose. So he shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire, the same fire. So in this case, the fire is talking about the power. The God that answers by power is the God.
That's right.
See, because fire is power. Fire consumes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think nobody is as far as when it come down to fire, you going down there. See, and that's what he's saying, and that's what God is in the Hebrew. He said that our God is a consuming fire.
That's right.
I mean, the God that answers by power.
That's it.
See? All right, so that's what he said. The God that answers by fire. That's the one. See, sometimes people got to be persuaded. You got to see some stuff.
That's it.
Sometimes the people say they're believers, but then they got to see some things to be persuaded further.
Yep.
See? That's why I said that people say it's well spoken.
Yep.
Sometimes they got to be persuaded by other means. All right, so then when they say, you go down here, it says, look at down further. Okay, here we go. All right, so after he did all this, they dressed up the bullock and everything, and he told them to get 4 barrels of water and all that. Pour water on it, on the sacrifice and all that. Then it says, look at 29.
And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied unto the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice nor any to answer, nor any that regarded.
All right. See, and here is another thing, and I'm gonna go back to when Elijah told, because it says in verse 29 and verse 36. See, all of this went down at the time of the evening sacrifice. So this lines up with Exodus, and it lines up when the Lord was crucified in the evening. He's the end time sacrifice, but this didn't go down until the time of the evening sacrifice. The Lord was put on the cross at 9 a.m. on Passover 14th, and he stayed on the cross all the way through midday. Notice how they say when midday was past. See, this stuff lines up.
Wow.
Lines up. See, at midday, all the way, the Lord died at 3 p.m. See, lines up. All right, so 36, what do you say?
And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word.
See, he didn't just say this is telling us. In other words, he did this according to the instructions that the Lord gave, right? See, he didn't just haphazardly start doing stuff. See, at his word, he did this stuff. See, in other words, nothing didn't go down until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice. That's when it went down, and when the Lord answered by fire, meaning that the offering was accepted by God. There we go. See, and that's what happened. That's why it said when it came down to Abraham and Isaac, when he offered them up on Mount Moriah for a burnt offering. See, because that means the offering was accepted by the Lord. It was a burnt offering because the fire would consume the offering, meaning that God accepted it. See? All this stuff lines up. It lines up to talk about the Lord. So go back to Exodus. That's why it said you gonna then he didn't say kill it in the morning. He said kill it in the evening. And then what is it? In verse 7.
Just Exodus?
Yeah. 12 verse 7.
Okay. I'm getting it. Verse 7.
And they should take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses, wherein they shall eat.
All right, then what?
And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
All right, so here what we're talking about, and that's what he said in verse 4, every man according to his eating. In other words, according to how many sins you have done, that's what you do, is what you take. Every man according to his eating. See, you didn't take no more than what's required. You got enough for the lamb to cover how many sins you've done. That's exactly what he's talking about.
Wow.
See, and then he says here, it's roast with fire, right? That's the burnt offering we're talking about.
That's it.
With unleavened bread, because all this is bitterness, which is remind us of the bitter sacrifice the Lord had to do for us. See, this ain't no somebody going around eating pizza.
No, sir.
See, this right here, he had to eat it with herbs. He didn't say eat it with some of your delicacies. But you had this stuff, and matter of fact, how you do when people drink prune juice, say the jaws pucker up. See? And that's basically when you eat something that's bitter, it's like, you're going to have a facial expression behind it.
Definitely.
And that's what this is designed. You ain't supposed to be smiling. Because somebody paid, he said you're bought with a price. And then what is it?
That's what it
What is
says.
it?
What is it?
See, so we're not supposed to be going on smiling at it. You know, like you're at some concert or something.
Goodness.
See, this right here is that when you eat something bitter, it's like, oh, man, you know, you about ready to spit it out, you know.
Yep.
See, but that's what it's designed that we're reminded of the payment that the Lord he had to pay for our sins. According to Romans 4:25, it says he was delivered for our offenses, not for his, and was raised for our justification. All right, see, so then it said, go down here, we're going to go back to Leviticus in a second. All right, you keep going down to 10, 11. This is,
Ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
all right, let's go to John's account. Watch this. Lines up perfectly. Notice what happened. And since this is almost Passover season, it's the season. You know, around this time, everybody talking about Easter eggs and everything. I don't see an Easter egg in the scriptures nowhere. All that stuff comes from them Roman customs and stuff they're doing. And people just have adopted this stuff and ain't got a bit more to do with the truth. All right, so,
John. Okay.
let's see. All right, here we go. In verse 31, notice right there when he said you should let nothing of this sacrifice remain until the morning. And notice what he said. Verse 31 of John 19.
Almost there.
The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation, that the bodies shall not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day. For that Sabbath day was a high day. Besought Pilate that the legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away.
All right, so here we go. So the 14th of Nisan was the preparation day for the Jews, lining up with, he says, you take the lamb on the 10th day. So, right, they kept it up to the 14th day. And notice during that time, the priest, the custom was the priest had to inspect the lamb, right, and see no blemishes. So line this up with the Lord when he got taken into custody by the Romans and everything. And they was inspecting him. And then Pilate said, what? I find no fault. See, they was inspecting the lamb. From the 10th to the 14th, he was under inspection. They didn't find no blemish. Couldn't find none.
No sin, no nothing.
So he said, I'm going to send you back to her, but I can't find nothing. Inspecting the lamb for the 4 days before he was put to death. Lines up perfectly with the Passover. Right? Then what he say? So here it says that the bodies should not remain on the cross because the 15th day, which was the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, so there were 2 Sabbaths involved, right? The high Sabbath, this was an annual Sabbath because the Passover, whatever day, and that could fall on any day. It could be a Monday, Tuesday, whatever. It wasn't saying. So then the high Sabbath was not the normal Sabbath that they normally kept. So there were 2 Sabbaths in that week when they had the high Sabbath, followed by another Sabbath right behind it.
Goodness.
Yes, sir. See, a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that through the Lord that brought it to our attention. See, the high Sabbath was not the normal Sabbath. The high Sabbath was the day after the preparation. So in this case, so the law had a shadow of good things to come. It wasn't the very image. It was a rehearsal of the event until the actual thing took place, which was this right here. On the 14th of Nisan, the Lord was put to death. Put him on there at 9 after midday, about the time of the evening. It was about 3 was when he gave up the ghost. And then they had to take it down because he had to be in the ground before the high Sabbath, or the Feast of Unleavened Bread was the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right, so let's go back to Exodus here. 12th chapter, see. We're about to wrap this up in a couple of minutes here.
Exodus 12.
In verse 11, watch this.
And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
All right, see, here we go. And this lines up perfectly. See, here's the thing, many people say they ain't ready to turn it over. look, they got too much stuff going on. They don't want to turn sin loose. But he'll say, if you ain't ready, ain't no need to even waste no time. So you got to be ready. But Peter said, we got to gird up the loins of our mind, right?
That's it.
He said, this is how you got to eat the Passover. And people, that's why people say, man, I ain't through doing what they're going to do. They don't want to turn it loose. And that's why Hebrews said, what did he say? He said they enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Because they ain't ready, you're not going to get to this point. So you got to eat it in haste. You got to be quick because the adversary, the hellhounds, is on your trail.
Amen. Definitely.
See, that's why after the Pharaoh had let him go, then they was in pursuit. And that's how the devil is. Oh yeah, you done escaped out, but look, you better believe he's on your heels.
Yes, he is. Definitely.
Hey, you ain't got time to wait. He said, eat it in haste. You better be quick. See, your staff, you gotta have a means of direction of where you want to go. That's what your staff represents. You ought to know you're ready to serve God. When people don't want to come out of this stuff. You gotta be ready to journey. You better put some shoes on your feet.
Come on.
See, but many people is not at that point. That's why the Lord said we got to labor with people and keep working with people to bring them over. See? And then he said, one plant, another water, God give the increase. That's why the Lord said we got to labor with people. Be patient. But in the case, they might be at this point, but the Lord ain't gave up on them. All right, so now here we go. Look at verse 12. This is interesting.
For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night. I will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord.
All right, notice. All right, this lines up. What is it got? What's the firstborn? All right, all right, just get Numbers 33, verse 3. Notice this. See, a lot of times people just look over this. But why did he destroy all the firstborn of Egypt? Beast, man, and beast. Why the firstborn? See, and this lines up with the Lord being put to death because he was the Lord's firstborn, but why was it not one of the Israelites' firstborn? But it was one of the Egypt's firstborn. See, and the answer is this. Let's get Numbers 33.
Verse 3.
Yeah, verse 3. Yeah, Numbers 33, verse 3.
Let's see why.
And they departed from Ramses in the first month. On the 15th day of the first month.
Right, which was the Sabbath. So we lined it up to the New Testament. It was the high Sabbath, the 15th, the day after the preparation day of the Jews. Then what?
Let's see. On the morrow after the Passover, the children of Israel went out in high land in the sight of all the Egyptians.
And then what did the Egyptians do?
For the Egyptians buried all their firstborn.
Right. See, okay, now what does this got to do with the Lord? See, the question. All right, so if the scripture said, let me get 2 Corinthians 5:21. Watch this. See, a lot of people look over this. So, okay, he smote all the Egyptians firstborn, but what does that got to do with the Lord? See, and here's where the work comes in at. Because no doubt Christ was the Lord's firstborn. But why was the Egyptians firstborn put to death and it wasn't the Israelites firstborn? Why was that? See, this is what we have 2 Corinthians 5:21. What is it?
Oh, 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, sorry about that. Right there. Okay.
What is it?
For all he hath made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of God in him.
All right. See, here is where, and this is why the answer to what the Lord said, when the Lord said on the cross, he said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? The answer is, because he couldn't look on sin. It said he had made him to be sin for us. That's why the Egyptians' firstborn was put to death, because Christ became the sin offering. See, this stuff lines up. So they said the Egyptians had buried their firstborn Just like the Lord was put to death before the high Sabbath. He was put in the ground. That's why he said the Egyptians buried their firstborn, because Christ was made sin for us, who knew no sin. So
Thank you.
at that time, he had the sins on him.
The Lamb without blemish
It is.
became sin. Good.
Became sin.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't understand that concept. That's why when Moses, one of the signs that the Lord gave him, he said, when he took the rod, he told him to cast the rod down, right? It turned into a serpent, which serpent is evil, right? Then it said Moses fled from it. Then the Lord told him to come and take it back up again, which was a sign that the Lord was going to take on the sins. That's what the serpent was. He took it back up, representing the resurrection, and it turned back into a rod in his hand. Moses fled just like God forsook his son during that time. And it said it was darkness from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. Isn't that what it said?
That's what it says. Wow.
See, that's why the Egyptians buried their firstborn. See, Christ became sin. Isaiah said 53 said he was numbered with the transgressors. Isn't that what it said?
Goodness. Wow. Boy.
See, that's why people didn't understand when the parable he gave about the lost coin and all that. And he said that the woman swept the whole house. He said she had 10 coins, she lost one, and swept the whole house until she found it. Because that means all the sins were being removed.
That's a parable.
See? So all the sins were removed, right? Then it said she swept the whole house until she found it, representing the resurrection. Then she said, told all her neighbors and friends to come and rejoice. See, it wasn't no salvation until the Lord did it. So he was the lost coin.
Yes. Yes.
All right, here's another one. What did he say? He gave the parable and told the Jews and said, when an unclean spirit goes through dry places seeking rest, when he comes out of a man, he goes through dry places seeking rest, right? And finds none. Then he said, I'm going to return to the house which I came out.
That's it.
I wonder if I can find that scripture. Hold on one second. We got to find it.
You got it.